Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch discussion about the 94th Academy Award nominations. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
Happy to be here to talk about, being angry about the nominees, I guess. I don't know. I'm not actually that angry this year, so that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to be actually angry about. I think... so... I guess we'll go through some of the nominees, but Dylan, I don't know about you, but I stayed up and watched the nomination process. Quite interesting to see some people's immediate reactions online. But how did you find out about the nominations? What did you think overall?
I seen it pop up on Twitter. I actually forgot it was on because for some reason the thing I read initially on Twitter said it was on at 4 a.m. and I'm like, okay, I'll wake up tomorrow. And then I randomly checked Twitter last night.
In America.
Their time. Yeah, that's what I think confused me. Because I presumed, because I clicked like Twitter event or whatever on their page, so I assumed it was like made for my local time. Apparently it wasn't. So then I randomly checked Twitter last night and then some of the nominees are up. And I'm like, am I up and is it 4 a.m.? Like, what's the go? But apparently not. Yeah, I feel like most of the, I feel like it's been pretty good year. I feel like most of the stuff that people are upset about, and we can get to that in a little bit, I guess. But most of the stuff, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't really think that counts. I think Kristen Stewart getting the noms, like, sort of the main sort of thing that, like, if that hadn't have been there, then that would have been my, like, well, that was dumb. Like, especially if the other person who ever wanted to get got nommed instead. There are a few movies I can think of off the top of my head I would love to have seen get somewhere, like Denis Villeneuve not getting a nom for director. I'm a bit like, yeah, it's a bit disappointing, but I'm also not like super mad because I'm just like, oh yeah, part 2 probably. And then Pig not getting nominated for anything sort of annoys me, but ultimately I feel like the solid list of this. Not to say I've watched everything that's nominated for every category. Of course, some stuff I just simply can't, or haven't been able to yet. But I feel like it's a pretty solid year all round.
Yeah. I think, pretty solid year. There were a couple of surprises, but a lot of the ones went to films that we've been expecting, like the big front runners were all there. Overall, pretty solid. I think there's probably like one film that everybody's kind of the best picture films that everybody's pretty upset about, but I feel like it's a very even year, and there's it feels like there was a little bit for everybody. For the most part, except the ones that it wasn't for. So, interesting overall facts. Power of the Dog led the nominations with, 12 nominations, followed by Dune with 10, Belfast and West Side Story with 7, and Kid Richard with 6. Your Best Picture nominees are Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. Dylan, how do you feel about those 10? Well, for a start, 10 Best Picture nominees. That's cool. I think there's going to be a thing going forward, especially considering there was, I think I read somewhere, like 255 films up for Best Picture this year. So, yeah.
Quite year.
Quite year, yeah.
Technically, I guess, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I've watched, 7 out of those, maybe, off the top of my head. I think I haven't watched Belfast, I haven't watched Licorice Pizza, I haven't watched Drive My Car. I think I've watched everything else. So, of those, all very solid movies, and then the ones I haven't watched, everyone says they're fantastic, and I want to watch them all, so nothing really to complain about. There's not a single movie in there that I feel like the majority of people go, fuck, I hope that doesn't win. And there's definitely nothing in there that's nominated that I've watched that I would be like super upset would win. Like, obviously, like, in my opinion, there's several things. Like, West Side Story is fine, but if that won, I'd be like, meh. But I wouldn't be like, oh my god, what a fucking, how did this terrible movie win? Like, sort of thing. It was like a Green Book winning. There's not a Green Book scenario here, if you know what I mean. There's not a.
I think some people would argue that Don't Look Up is a Green Book scenario.
Oh, you reckon? Because I reckon Don't Look Up is
people. Yeah, I think the people who dislike Don't Look Up are very I'm very happy to let you know that I like this. Don't look
So
up.
Don't Look Up, I think, like a 7 or something
Yeah.
like that. Like, I think it's like meh, or like, it's okay, I guess. It's okay. But I don't feel like it's the end of the world
No.
bad. So maybe that's why it doesn't bother me so much. I think it doesn't. I think it shouldn't win. I think if it did win, it would be very funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the one I dislike the most of all the ones I've watched, and I'm on the opposite end. I think I've watched like three
Fucking hell,
three of them, so I'm gonna have to do some catch up between now and Oscar season.
I mean, I'd watch the off ones if I could, but I don't think we're.
I do. Well, so. I think your Drive My Car is probably the one you won't be able to watch before then.
Yeah, maybe the others will come on VOD, like Licorice Pizza and Belfast, maybe before next month.
Yeah, I would assume so, like premium. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, was there any snub that you felt in the Best Picture race? Obviously, I would have loved Tick Tick Boom to be nominated.
Nah, Pig.
Yeah. Best Directors: Belfast, Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Ryusuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. I think we're both surprised that Denis Villeneuve wasn't on this list. But, you know.
It's hard to swap. That's a problem. There's limited spots. It's kind of hard
There's
to
5
swap
spots,
someone else out.
10 Best Picture nominees. I think Spielberg's probably the one that's getting there on name alone, maybe.
It's hard because, like, I didn't love West Side Story, but
the people
he
who
directed
love it,
the fuck out of it. But I mean, like, but I can say he directed the fuck out of that movie, so it's sort of hard to.
Yeah. Of course, Jane Campion made history by being the first woman to ever be nominated for Best Director twice. That's cool.
Shout out to New Zealand.
Yeah. Ryusuke Hamaguchi. I think this is the 3rd year in a row a foreign language director has been nominated.
Imagine if it wins. It'll be 3rd year in a row.
Oh yeah, because Thomas Winterfeld won last year, didn't he?
Yep.
That's crazy. Yep. Yeah. It's possible. I mean, Drive My Car is kind of the interesting story in the lead up to the Academy Awards, where it's kind of gotten a lot of buzz and traction to the extent it's got 4 nominations. But yeah, I don't think it's a clear winner. Well, I think we'll get to it, but yeah, that's definitely interesting. Best Adapted Screenplay, the nominees are Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Order, and The Power of the Dog. And then for Best Original Screenplay is Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and The Worst Person in the World. So that's an interesting quirk where there's 2 foreign language films up for screenplay with screenplay nominations, which is interesting.
I know. I was going to say Worst Person in the World's one. I know that a lot of people are like that got snubbed, but neither of us have watched it, so it's not something I'm really. I want to watch it, obviously, but it's not something I could say like that definitely deserves a spot. Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, there's been all this talk about the diversity of the Academy and like all the stuff they've been doing. I feel like in more foreign films that are showing up on other nominations than just foreign film. Best International Film is quite interesting. And there's Flea is the other one that we'll get to that's also
very weird.
Weird, but also cool that it's getting in, you know, a bunch of different nominations. Best Actor. The nominees are Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick Tick Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. I'd say this is probably the most unsurprising of the 4 acting categories in regards to the nominees. I think all of them were pretty much locks going forward, so yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything that's surprising. It's like your pick, my pick, and then other favorites.
Yeah. Best Supporting Actor. The nominees are Ciarán Hinds for Belfast, Troy Kotzer for Coda, Jesse Plemons for The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith-McPhee for The Power of the Dog. J.K. Simmons seems to have come in from nowhere to get this nominations.
I didn't realize he was in that movie, to be honest. So
I'd seen no buzz. Was looking at some of the tracking before, like on I think it was Gold Derby, which is like a big predicting website, and like they do obviously the like graphs of people for who the most likely nominees are, and he was not one of the options. Like he's jumped ahead of who supporting actor jumped ahead of Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza, Jared Leto for House of Gucci, Michael Feist for West Side Story, and Jamie Dornan for Belfast. Those were the other nominees who were they thought were more likely than J.K. Simmons. So again, we haven't seen Being a Ricardo, so
yeah.
It's yeah. That's
good to see Troy Kotzer.
Good to see Troy Kotzer. Cool to see Cody Smith-McPhee, Australian, nominated. And then Jesse Plemons, first nomination, which is surprising because he's been a great actor for a long time. All the way,
and not to skip ahead, but I love the fact that him and his wife get nominated at the same time.
There's actually two pairs of husband-wife pairings, but yeah, true. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Is all I'll say from that. Next up, Best Actress. The nominees are Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer. Interesting fact, none of these women were nominated for the Baftas. So all the nominees for the Best Leading Actress for the Baftas, none of them are nominated. Which is unheard of. And probably just goes to show how close this race potentially could be.
It's an interesting list. Obviously, I said before, Kristen Stewart was sort of the please let her get in.
She was diving off a cliff in people's estimations, especially no SAG nomination, no BAFTA nomination, after being the front runner for so long. Yeah, so it's good to see that she got the nomination. I don't know if she'll win, but
it's hard to say. I think it's really.
She's in the race, so that helps.
But I think she's really good. And again, I tweeted out before, I made a tweet being like, hopefully this year everyone starts taking her and Robert Pattinson seriously, because I was fucking sick of years of the Twilight people. But it's just even someone at work that week was saying that her and the dude from Twilight, they're not very good actors or whatever. I'm like, what have you watched that they're in other than Twilight? Nothing. Alright. Cool story. Sort of thing. So and yeah, I said that movie, my complaints for that movie is script wise, she's fantastic, so I think that's a deserving nom. And then the big older Lady Gaga fans getting upset on Twitter today.
Yeah.
That's been the main thing I've seen on Twitter as far as complaints. Lady Gaga.
I think people were pretty divided.
She didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
She did not deserve it. And I'm not trying to say that her performance is bad, but it ain't as good as any of the other nominees that I've seen. And I wouldn't swap them out for any. I wouldn't swap her out for anyone else that I've seen. Maybe she's better than some of those people I haven't seen. Some of those movies I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen Nicole Kidman's performance or anything like that. But as far as the rest go, she ain't better. It's a very loud sort of performance, but it doesn't automatically make it good.
Cool, you're in character for 9 months. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been interesting listening to some different podcasts talk about the nomination since, and maybe she just didn't campaign for the nomination the same way that
maybe she just doesn't deserve it. Like,
I mean, well, campaigning kind of helps,
yeah.
like, get you over the line. It's like, obviously, she got a lot of goodwill from A Star Is Born, but you know,
her performance in A Star Is Born is way better than her performance in this.
Okay.
And I don't like that movie, so.
All right. The nominees for Best Supporting Actress: Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Judy Dench for Belfast, Kristen Stewart for Power of the Dog, and Arjuan Ellis for King Richard. Again,
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst. Sorry.
I was like, Kristen Shields in The Power of the Dog.
Yeah, what transformative. Yeah, Kirsten Dunst. Crazy that she's a first-time nominee. Giving her long career. Judy Dench, another one who came out of nowhere.
No, I knew she was in it. She's in the trailers and everything. And
No, but like in the Oscar race, I don't think.
right.
I'm not sure she'd been nominated for anything. I think that spot, one like her co-star Katarina Balfe was the one that people were predicting would get the spot, and maybe people couldn't tell which one. You know, they're like
Judi
the
Dench,
lady from
though.
Belfast, Judy Dench. They'll do.
Pretty sure people know who Judy Dench is.
I don't know.
She's M.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting list. Jessie Buckley, really happy. You know, justice for I'm thinking of ending things with both her and Jesse Plemons nominated this year. So, and people have also pointed out there's a Fargo connection because they're both in Fargo in separate seasons. So that's cool. But yeah, I mean, I think it's Ariana DeBose is the favorite at the moment. So I guess
that would be good. I mean, my pick would be Kirsten out of the ones I've seen, but I'd be happy with her as well.
Yeah. And then the other big snub was Ruth Negga for Passing, who a lot of people thought was a shoo-in for a nomination.
Yeah,
kind of got overlooked.
I've seen a bunch of tweets about that. I don't even know what that movie is, to be honest. Like, have I missed... Like, were you aware of what this is?
Yeah, I know what this movie is. It's a Netflix movie directed by... who was it? She was in...
It's Rebecca Hall.
Rebecca Hall, that's right. I was trying to think of which superhero movie she was in, because I knew she was in one.
Godzilla.
Well, she's in Iron Man 3.
Oh, that's not what I thought of.
But yeah, it stars Ruth Negga and Tessa Thompson, in which Ruth Negga plays Tessa Thompson's old childhood friend, who is now passing as a white woman in 1920s New York City. Yeah.
No, I didn't even see this one. Netflix, right?
Yeah. Yeah, not worth watching. It's not nominated, so.
Came out in November. Okay.
Yeah.
Mixed it amongst the truffle, the end of year.
All the end of year stuff.
Season.
Yeah, didn't quite catch it. Best animated feature nominees are Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. Did I say it right? I can't remember.
No.
Is it Raya or Raya?
Raya.
Raya. Unsurprising list, I think. Especially given Flea's buzz over the last I don't know, year. Very happy to see Mitchells vs. the Machines nominated, though, and seeing all the marketing material that they've been pumping out.
They're straight onto it.
Loving that. So yeah, that'll be an interesting one. Best cinematography, the nominees are Greg Fraser for Dune, Dan Lauston for Nightmare Alley, Ari Wegner for Power of the Dog, Bruno Debonel for Tragedy of Macbeth, and Janusz Kaminski for West Side Story. Ari Wegner becoming the second woman nominated for Best Cinematography. So yeah, that's interesting. Unsurprising, can't think of any more beautifully shot movies.
Shout out to New Zealand. They're all really well shot movies. I actually don't know who the fuck will win that category. So I have no, they're all, and they're all different.
Ari Wigton is
so
Australian, so
oh, shout out to Australia!
Yeah.
We take one for the team. Even if it was New Zealand, I was going to steal it.
she's born in Melbourne, so
There you go.
There we
Shout
go.
out.
Best costume design nominees are Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, Nightmare Alley, and West Side Story.
It's a very stacked category.
It is quite
Period pieces and musicals.
yeah. Best documentary feature: Ascension, Attica, Flea, Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, and Riding with Fire. A lot of interesting pictures there. Obviously, Flea. Interested because it's nominated for Best Animated Feature, Best Documentary Feature, and spoilers, it's up for Best International Feature Film. First time that treble has ever been.
Has happened. Yeah.
Ever happened.
Weird. I mean, it's interesting, but it's just like, what?
Yeah. Very keen.
I actually remembered one of my snubs, or one of the things I thought would be a shoe-in, I guess, is actually, I really thought The Velvet Underground would have got nominated, but it did not.
No entertainment, like, kind of based ones. Like, even, I think the other one was the Rescue, the one following the Thailand
the cave thing.
Yeah. That was meant to be a big one that people thought was going to get nominated. No. Surprising.
No.
All right.
Because I remember when I was watching Velvet Underground, and that's not my favorite, that wasn't my favorite, like, band movie thing I watched last year. It was obviously the Sparks Brothers one. But I was watching the Velvet Underground, I was like, oh, this is a shoe-in for the Oscars, because it just, the way the story's told, and like it was really unique, the way it uses footage and edited together, and I was like, oh, this is a shoe-in. So, but no, apparently I was wrong.
Nope. Best documentary short: Audible, Lead Me Home, The Queen of Basketball, 3 Songs of Benazir, and When We Were Bullies. It's cool.
Didn't watch any of them. I will try to watch some before the Oscars, as I usually do every year. As long as I can find
put
them.
an article up.
Yeah, I'll find them.
Best film editing. The nominees are Don't Look Up, Dune, King Richard, Power of the Dog, Tick Tick Boom. Yeah, again, some Tick Tick Boom love. Yeah, lots of good films there. Best international feature film. The nominees are Drive My Car, Flea, The Hand of God, Lulana, A Yak in the Classroom, The Worst Person in the World. That was a fun one to hear them read out.
What was it? The Yak in the Room? I haven't. What? I haven't heard that one.
Yes. So, this is I don't know what Bhutanese drama film from. Here's the description on Google: an aspiring singer living with his grandmother in the capital of Bhutan dreams of getting a visa to relocate to Australia.
Oh,
that's a difficult process. It's just not going to get.
I mean, that's a lot different than the movie I was picturing. I thought it was.
I was really hoping there was a yak.
Yeah,
I mean, there is a yak on the poster, so I mean, there's still potential.
Oh, maybe.
But yeah, interesting list of films. I think the big snub or surprise there is A Hero from the director who did A Separation and a bunch of other internationally regarded films. Didn't get a spot. Instead, the Yak movie did. Yeah, so that's interesting.
It's a fight between Drive My Car and the Worst Person in the World.
I don't know. Flea could sneak up.
Flea will win Best Animated Feature. Finally, a year when it's not Disney.
Yeah. Best Makeup and Hairstyling. The nominees are Coming to America, Cruella, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and The House of Gucci.
Hold on, I didn't read these. I didn't read this far before. Why is Coming to America nominated?
Makeup. For prosthetics, probably. Because that's what it always is. So, because they have to make them all the Eddie Murphy peoples.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a pretty stacked category, and it's like a lot of interesting choices in that one.
Sure. One way to put it.
I think that's the only one that House of Gucci is nominated for, so rough.
For making Jared Leto look like a whatever
he looks like, yeah.
Yeah.
Best original score. The nominees are Don't Look Up, Dune, Encanto, Parallel Mothers, and Power of the Dog. I don't remember the score to Don't Look Up, to be perfectly honest.
I also do not. What was it? So obviously Encanto. Go again.
Don't Look Up, Dune, Encanto, Parallel Mothers, and The Power of the Dog.
Yeah, so 3 of them I can remember.
Well, 3 you can remember and 1 you haven't seen, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's alright. That's pretty good.
I mean, Parallel Mothers is quite an interesting choice because that's a Spanish film, not like a major release and that kind of stuff, so... Best original song. Be Alive from King Richard. Dos Oruguitas from Encanto. Down to Joy from Belfast. No Time to Die from No Time to Die. And Somehow You Do from 4 Good Days. Who was it? Diane Warren. I think it's nominated for the 13th time for Best Original Song for this movie that nobody saw. So
there's a lot of snubs in this category, I tell you.
I mean, it's hard to say because obviously there's people would know songs that they love from different movies, but what was actually on the shortlist and eligible to be in there. I think maybe No Time to Die is the longest between the oldest nomination ever.
I guess it doesn't matter. Like, they recorded the song 10 years ago. The movie only released this past year. Billie Eilish is 36 now. It's fine.
Yeah. Best production design. The nominees are Dune, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. Best animated short, Affair of the Art, Bestia, Box Ballet, Robin, and The Windshield Wiper. I think the interesting point out of this is there's no Disney or Pixar movie amongst those. They're all I think Robin's the favorite because that's a Aardman animated film. But other than that, they're all pretty random indie productions. So that's interesting. Best short live action, Ala Chu, Take and Run, The Dress, The Long Goodbye, On My Mind, Please Hold. Best sound goes to Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, West Side Story. And visual effects nominees are Dune, Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and Spider-Man No Way Home gets a nomination.
Oh, why wasn't it nominated for Best Picture? Blah, blah, blah.
Listen,
I saw some of that today.
Relax. There's an alternate universe in which Spider-Man No Way Home won the Best Picture. And any day now, they'll shoot a movie in which a giant circle comes out and you'll be able to go to that alternate dimension and live in a world in which... experience a world in which No Way Home won Best Picture.
I reckon Spider-Man fans who wish No Way Home was nominated for Best Picture should just get behind one other nominee here and take that as a win.
Which nominee is closest to No Way Home?
Well, I could say with spoilers.
Alright. Yeah, so overall thoughts? Final thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah, solid. As always, there's always going to be things that you're like, oh, this, that. It's never going to be 100% what you want, which is fine. But otherwise, there's nothing. The main 2 things I've seen are the Netflix movie thing you just pointed out that I've never heard of, for Ruth, who I will always just picture as what's the fuck from Preacher. And Lady Gaga. They're the 2 things I've seen the most on Twitter. Third would be Dune for Denis. Other than that, I haven't seen too much complaints, to be honest. Annette for original song. For Shall We Start, or whatever that song's called, the Sparks Brothers song, my new favorite band. But other than that, don't know, nothing.
Yeah.
Solid year.
Yeah, I think it's a solid year. Lots of interesting choices. Seeing some of the people's reactions to getting nominated is super joyful and that kind of stuff. And even reading the story about Kirsten Dunst getting nominated. Apparently, she got the call from her agent first, and then she got the call again from her agent telling her that Jessie got nominated, which is very sweet. Spoiler trivia: Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz is the other couple that got nominated. So,
I didn't actually know they were together. There you go.
Yeah. I think good year. I think obviously the couple of small things. Hopefully, don't look up that doesn't win. Hopefully, it doesn't win.
Hopefully it doesn't. I feel like that is the one movie.
I think there's it's a couple of interesting smaller things. Like it's interesting Aaron Sorkin didn't get nominated, given that writing is the thing he's known for, and it's all the actors in his thing that got nominated. But yeah, and I guess the big question, Dylan, is this the year that Netflix takes home Best Picture?
If I have it my way, they will. So, and I don't think my movie of the year's ever won Best Picture. So it would be good if it did. Is what I'm going to say. Because usually, I haven't seen as many, or a lot of the Oscar-nominated movies are even yet to come out in Australia. Whereas the majority of them gone. In fact, if I lived somewhere else, I could have seen all of them by now, which I think would be a 100% fair.
Drive My Car is still only just starting to show in America and stuff, so.
No, it's limited here. Some places, I think.
It's only just starting, so.
Yeah, just now. But I mean, I could see, what's elsewhere. But, Power Dog, let's go. That's what obviously that's what I'm rooting for. That was my movie of last year, so should know what I'm behind.
We'll be doing predictions sometime before the 27th of March, but currently Power of the Dog is the one I'm thinking is probably going to win.
Hey, I'm voting with my heart.
I'm voting with my brain, and that's why I keep winning.
I can't, even if it wasn't a front runner, I can't not pick my movie of the year. So you're doing a disservice to your own.
Well, mine's not nominated, so.
Okay, well, you better pick Andrew Garfield and whatever else then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to get over penalty.
Okay, we'll see.
All right. Let us know what you thought of this year's Oscar nominations by going to exposurenetwork.com/Twitter or jump into Discord at exposurenetwork.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, or leave us 5 stars anywhere that lets you leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. That always helps. And if you like this episode, thought it was worth $1, head over to the Ko-fi page at explosionetwork.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess. Preferably things that have been nominated, so you could be knowledgeable.
I reckon Benedict Cumberbatch's character in The Power of the Dog would beat the living shit out of Andrew Garfield.
Probably.
But
then he would make a great song about it.
Sure. Yeah. Fight me. Fictional, non-fictional character.